Hello and welcome to the BCRC show, the show that advocates that BC resources should make BC jobs. I am your host, Clint Chappell, and we are live downtown on 3rd Avenue here in Prince George at Hubspace. If you guys ever want to get a hold of Hubspace, please visit them downtown here and look up for Chris King. He'll set you up here in Hubspace. It's awesome. We're in the vault. We're literally in the bank vault doing this show here tonight, so it's really exciting. I want to thank all the frontline workers and essential workers in BC and the world. Really, thank you very much for keeping us safe. You guys are doing awesome work and keep up the great stuff. My guest here today is the MasterChef of Canada Season 4 winner, Trevor Connie. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show, Clint. I'm excited for this.
Oh, I can tell you there's a lot of people in the BCRC that are really excited about it. A lot of people are some hidden foodies, including myself. So I think everyone is beyond thrilled that you're able to give us some time here today. And it means a lot you coming on our show. So let's just jump right into it, man. Okay, let's. I'm going to ask you a tough question right off the start. How did the winning MasterChef Canada change your life? Like, you know, you're in construction, you entered the contest, you went on MasterChef. The confetti's falling from the sky. Your family's all around you right now. You've won MasterChef Canada. What happened after?
I think just like in the simplest terms, I'm a chef now. I cook. I'm so happy with my day-to-day living and work situation. Mind you, not right now, but we'll get into that due to COVID. But I'm just super happy cooking, and that's what I'm doing. So I went from being a plumber gas fitter, working in the industry, Northern Alberta, Edmonton, and now I'm cooking for a living. So I'm literally blessed with this opportunity to follow my passion and do it every day. And it's super, super thrilling. I'm like, couldn't be more excited.
Awesome. So guys, if you have any questions for the Season 4 winner of MasterChef Canada, please leave them in the comment section below. He'll answer whatever questions when it comes to cooking, industry, farming. We're going to get into that too. So if you have any needs, please leave them in the comment section and follow Trevor on Instagram. What's your handle on Instagram, Trevor?
My Instagram handle is at Trevor Connie.
Awesome. Very simple. I don't know how you got that simple of one. But yeah, also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, follow us everywhere, guys. Please. We really want to get our numbers up. Maybe if you stay long enough into this video too, maybe I'll announce another contest of sorts here for the BCRC. So Trevor, what was the process like coming from reality TV and then transferring back into the actual world? How did that look? Because I know there's probably some time gap there after you actually won and everything went live.
Yeah, totally. So if you imagine, we filmed the finale of the show. I found out I won, like you said earlier. The confetti was there, my family was there. Super surreal and euphoric moment. And then I get on a plane back to Edmonton, and I quit my job as a plumber gas fitter, start working in a restaurant. And I did that for about 8 months until the show even started airing on TV again. So there's a huge time gap where I was able to kind of adjust from that super big high I was on to kind of bring myself down and just get back to the basics of learning how to cook and learning the skill set necessary that I needed to excel in this industry that I'm working in now. So
obviously, like the rest of the world here has gone through the pandemic, has gone through the COVID-19 pandemic. How is it affected like the restaurant industry? I'm sure that, to me, I'm guessing that's probably the hardest sector hit by this.
Oh man, I'm almost at a loss for words about how crazy, how like drastically this has affected the restaurant industry. I personally don't think it will ever be the same. And not to say that it won't be as good, because maybe we're learning stuff about, different practices and different procedures we need to be following to run a successful restaurant. And maybe this is a good thing, like a silver lining. But for the time being, like I know a lot of my friends who own restaurants may not recover ever from this, simply because, the lack of business and being shut down, and whatever subsidies they're getting from the government just wasn't enough to stay afloat. And for myself personally, like I'm not working at my restaurant right now. I'm doing my own thing from home. So yeah, it's hit our industry crazy hard, and it's tough. But we're chefs, and restaurateurs and business owners and entrepreneurs, and we'll thrive and we'll bounce back and we'll find a way, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, actually, let's just touch on a little bit maybe what you're doing right now, Trevor. Like, how can what are you doing right now to keep busy?
Yeah, so I have a huge passion for pasta, handmade pastas, hand rolled pastas, sauces, ragus. If you follow me on Instagram at Trevor Connie, you can kind of check out what I'm talking about. But right now, I'm just simply doing at home pasta kits. So if you're a foodie like you, Clint, or even you don't really have to be a foodie. If you're just, a guy who goes to the grocery store and cooks up a plain dinner at home, you can order these pasta kits off me and prepare really high quality restaurant pasta dishes at home for yourself or your family or your girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case may be.
Yep. That's an awesome idea. I'm sure that's going to be a big hit for you. And that's all in the greater Edmonton area, I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, right now it's just very small. So I'm not shipping outside of the province or, mainly right now it's Calgary, Edmonton, and surrounding area. If you just hit me up at my email, trevorconniemcc@gmail.com, I can add you to my weekly menu list and hopefully get in touch and fill your belly with some good pasta.
Well, it's awesome stuff, guys. So again, if you need to get a hold of them, that's Trevor Connie, mcc@gmail.com. Trevor, I just talked about Edmonton there for a second. Or I mentioned Edmonton, I didn't really talk about it. Edmonton and Alberta, for that matter, it's known as oil country, oil province, or whatever, right? So when that economic downturn hit, whatever that was, 5-6 years ago, I'm guessing that the restaurant industry has felt that.
Absolutely. It's kind of full circle for me because I was in that industry prior to going on this show. And when the economic impact of the industry kind of collapsing, if you will, that was kind of what prompted me into getting into the MasterChef thing. And, it ended up kind of turning my life into this new cooking mode. But so I have kind of an interesting story going from one industry to the other that both directly are affected by one another. We were just talking about it on the podcast, but there's been companies out here that, like, say in 2016, I did a bit of research, and one of the major players out here in the oil and gas industry, $1.5 billion of wage cutoffs to their workers. That also resulted in 40,000 job losses. So, that's 40,000 people that don't have a job. That's $1.5 billion that isn't in Albertans' pockets. That's not money that's coming into our restaurants, right? Because of, what's happening with oil and gas, everything is more expensive. Farming is more expensive. Restaurants are paying more for produce and proteins from their farmers, local or on a grand scale. We have to charge more money for those dishes in our restaurants because that's just the chain reaction. But people have no money. People have less money. So everything's more expensive and nobody has the money they used to have. So it's a huge storm of not good at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's, I hit on this on the last episode. If you haven't watched the last episode, they're all on YouTube and you can find them on our Facebook page here too. But I think what the misconception with resource industry is how the money gets spread through everything that there really is. I mean, if you work at a sawmill, if you work at a pulp mill, if you work in the oil and gas, whatever, you go out, you're spending your money at the grocery store, the hardware store, and then you're going into the restaurant industry and you're spending your money in the restaurant industry too. So you're literally, the resource industry's money is going from your paycheck and it's funding, waitresses, waiters, chefs, busboys, hostess, you name it. I think that people really have a misconception of how money works and how money flows through cities. And I know when I go out of town on the tools, I'm in a restaurant every single night. Like that's where I eat dinner. And I think, people have to realize that it isn't just that person that's affected by it. It's everybody.
Well, like you just touched on it. There's like so many jobs involved as a resource. Like the labor market itself is a resource. We spoke about this earlier. All of those jobs are affected. So
Yeah, for sure. I 1000% agree. So let's talk a little bit. Actually, guys, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. It's not every day you get the MasterChef winner here on a show to ask them some real live questions here. So if you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. It only takes one to get the party started. So please comment away. It's like the Lay's chips. You can only eat just one.
I like that.
Or you can't eat just one. Sorry. So let's talk about some farming here. I grew up on a 160-acre ranch. We had 100 head of cattle, a bunch of sheep, bunch of geese, goats, horses, you name it. How is the farming industry? How does that affect the restaurant industry?
So it's everything. Let's put it that way. There's no restaurant industry without a farming industry, right? Just to be simple and layman about it. And especially so there's there's your grand scale farms. Like there's 70,000 farms in Alberta, Calgary, Edmonton, all the way up to Fort Mac, 70,000 farmers. They're producing cattle and they're producing wheat mainly, and everything else under the sun pretty much. But we're shipping a lot of it outside of the country, and or we're supplying grand scale stuff to like Save-On, Sobeys, whatever, Safeway, blah blah blah, Costco even. Whereas, if you go to like a little local farm, like a small local farm, as a restaurateur, and I'm buying my produce and my proteins from them, I'm gonna sell that in the restaurant. So it's like farmer, restaurateur, and consumer. And more often than not, the consumer is sometimes correlated with the farmer. So it's like a circle of, like you spoke earlier, like keeping that money in the province or in the country for that matter, whatever, circulating that money, opposed to buying produce and stuff from California that they grow all year on a grand scale and getting that stuff imported. Our farmers are losing out on that profit. And that profit gets turned right back into our economy. So,
yeah, no, I think, one thing that I really want to, hit on here too is the BCRC, we're about BC resources making BC jobs, and the BCRC, our labor is a resource. Farming is a resource. The wine industry in BC is a huge resource. So it's not just the gas industry. It's not just the sawmills. It's literally, it encompasses all. And without the local flavor in the restaurants, I mean, a lot of these things they're gonna go away. So hopefully people realize that you have to support local and you have to support provincial as well.
The best way that I can describe it is like, if you go to a local restaurant, you're not only supporting that local restaurant, you're supporting, well, I guess the jobs that are within that restaurant. You're also supporting the farm. You're also supporting, whatever else, it's a trickle, it's a ladder, right? That it's, I think it's very important. And I don't think a lot of people, there's a huge movement. And I would say our culture in today's day and age is very aware of this. I just think we need to be not just aware, but we need to act on it.
Yeah, I think like you said, you have to act on it. You have to be willing to pay a little bit more for some stuff. You have to be willing to not just go to the big chains every now and then, because you have to pay whatever 10 cents more for per pound for ham or whatever it is, right? Like, people have to realize that supporting local means you're supporting jobs everywhere. So we have a question here from Melody. Do you have a favorite chef or mentor for the Italian food you get inspiration from? So, yeah,
definitely. I guess my mentors and who I've followed and kind of inspired to be have changed over the past few years, but guys like Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver, and then there's cool guys, like there's chefs in what's really cool about like social media these days is you can follow chefs all over the country, all over the world for that matter, within an instant. So there's a chef in Italy. His name is Massimo Bottura. He runs a restaurant in Modena called Osteria Francescana. The rated #1 best restaurant in the world is an Italian restaurant in Modena, Italy. You can go on his Instagram page and I can get inspiration through what he's doing in a second, right? There's tons of cool chefs in Toronto, Montreal that are doing really good Italian food. Rob Gentile, Ryan Gray from the restaurant Nora Gray in Montreal. All really cool chefs that are.
I could tell you one thing is Gordon Ramsay is the best. I love Gordon Ramsay, man. All the videos, I know it's a lot of it's all produced and everything else, but he is on TV. The funny. Have you ever met Gordon Ramsay? Have you met him?
No, I haven't. But you know what? I know people who have met him, and they say he's actually just like the most down to earth, chill guy you've ever met in your life.
Yeah, because he came from like nothing in background. Like he came from like no money, no nothing. I think I watched an episode where they showed like his apartment, like after he moved out, like it was the size of this bank vault. Like he literally came from nothing. We're off track a little bit, but yeah, everything that I try to cook, I try to emulate his videos and stuff like that. My wife's probably laughing so hard right now, but
he's a good guy to model yourself after. Let's put it.
Oh yeah, if I can get to be like 1.2% of his cooking, I think I'll be pretty good. So, what is your go-to comfort food dish? So you're at a bad day, you're feeling down, maybe a little sick. What's Trevor making in the kitchen to make himself feel better?
Oh man. It sounds so cliche, but if you do it properly, and to do it properly is very simple, is like a really good chicken soup or a chicken stew with some noodles. And I'll make the noodles from scratch and just take like a whole like farm fresh chicken. I go to like the Hyderite colony here and get like these Hyderite chickens that are just phenomenal. And just boil it with some onions, carrots, celery, maybe a little zest and nutmeg, some lemon. And you just make a chicken stock and pull all the chicken and then boil some noodles and you have chicken noodle soup. But it's much better than the stuff that comes out of the can. I can guarantee you that.
Oh man. So yeah, well, it's obviously going to be better coming from you than it is out of the can. How long were you in construction for, Trevor? Like what was you left Vancouver-ish area and you went out to Edmonton, or actually no, you worked at BC Place there for a bit, didn't you? You did something with the roof there.
Yeah. I worked for a European company that was contracted to do the cables and the raising of the roof and the retractable roof itself at BC Place. So I did that for about a year. Prior to that, I was kind of all over, bouncing around the construction industry, framing, glazing, just like being a laborer when I was younger. And then I kind of found my little niche that I really liked, and it was plumbing. Like, a buddy of mine got me into it. I did it for about 4 years. Three of which out in Alberta. Absolutely loved it. I still love working with my hands. I like carpentry. I like all that kind of stuff. But I think it correlates to cooking as well. Sort of working with your hands and creating something to be proud of. But
yeah, I think that makes sense, right? Like you go from construction to making something with your hands, food wise. Like it's being a chef is still it's a trade, right? Like it's still a trade. So I think
it's different. It's different, but it's same in the sense that like there's still a step-by-step process you need to do to create a dish or a menu or whatever. Same with electrical company. Like you go to a groundworks at a building and then you see the project all the way through. It's the same as creating a menu or a recipe, right?
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to do a quick shout out to all the local companies here in the Prince George and surrounding areas, really all over BC, Alberta, Canada, but obviously we're the BCRC. So really in BC here, all you local companies, we feel you out there, and all the people watching this, whether it's on the live right now or afterwards, please support your local industries. It's very important. It's one of the reasons why we brought Trevor on here today, is because he's talked and touched on how important local, I'm going to call it localism, is to the restaurant industry. So get out there, go to the restaurants in your town, take the family out. If you're not feeling comfortable with COVID, completely understandable. Do a order in, skip the dishes, whatever it takes. Call the restaurants. Let's just get some money flowing back through our local economy here in British Columbia. So another question here is from Anita. Can you recommend one dish that is easy to cook?
Oh my gosh, they're all easy.
Mac and cheese.
You know what? Okay, something that I've been really good or hot on lately is me and my girlfriend. We make like a homemade Caesar dressing, but it's a very light Caesar dressing. There's no egg in it, and there's not a lot of oil in it. It's just like a really high quality olive oil, garlic, and lemon juice with salt and pepper. And then I've been really into like grilling romaine, and it's so like 1980s, like a grilled romaine Caesar salad, but it's really good. So yeah, I don't know, Anita, you can hit me up on Instagram or at my email, and I'll send you a recipe over.
We're getting lots of questions now. So another question here is from Chris. Do you think the large chain restaurants support local economy as much as the smaller independent restaurants? That's a really good question.
Yeah, fantastic question. I actually wanted to touch on that earlier, but so without naming any of the chains, but you know what they all are. There's, the 4 or 5 big ones in every city. They order through a food distribution company that mainly, like, they do work with local as best they can, but for the majority of it, they're getting stuff shipped in from the States, mainly coming from California. California cultivates and grows pretty much everything, like everything. So a lot of our out of season vegetables and fruits are coming from California, opposed to, like I mentioned earlier, if you go to these local restaurants that are doing like monthly seasonal menus, doing what's local in that area, whether it's BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, whatever, Ontario, they're focused on their region and what they can get in. And that's what I recommend doing and supporting, because like I touched on earlier with you, it's you're supporting the farm, you're supporting jobs in your community. And not only that, it's like you're getting like a fresher product, right? It's grown locally. For the most part, it's not covered in pesticides and whatever, you know what I mean?
No, for sure.
So yeah, I do think that I'm not going to slag on the chains, because they do a good job, and I do think that they're important for a portion of our economy, but they definitely don't shop local as much as they can, because they're all about making a buck.
Yeah, they want to cut corners, and they want to profit as much as they can.
It's cheaper to get it shipped in than it is to support your local guy, because like you said earlier, maybe it's a little bit more expensive. But yeah, so
yeah. So I have a question here from your favorite elementary school teacher, Greg.
Mr.
Not too sure what that means, but apparently
he's my actual elementary school teacher,
and he remembers you to this day. You were obviously a terrible student. When purchasing your food supplies, do you think there is a trade war between BC and Alberta?
Ooh.
You know what? I'll step in here for a second, let you think about it before you answer it. Yeah, you know what? So there is a little bit of a trade war between BC and Alberta. We've seen it with the wine like last year, where Alberta stopped buying BC wine because it was something to do with the pipeline at that point, I think. So BC and Alberta are kind of like Texas and California, or whatever you want to say, different ideologicals of thinking. But we're always going to be not a trade war with them all the time, but it's always going to be a little thin ice, I think is the best way to put that. I'll let you elaborate now.
Yeah, definitely. So like, I don't necessarily want to call it a trade war, Mr. Ng, but let's call it like supply and demand. For instance, like if I'm doing a restaurant out here in Alberta and I want to serve some seafood, I have to buy from BC. I could buy from the East Coast and stuff, but I want to buy from BC. I want to support, that economy. And then vice versa. Like, and there's lots of ranches and there's lots of cattle production in BC, but if they want that
Chapel Creek Farm.
Yeah, there you go. But that, like Alberta beef, same thing. We ship it down to BC or whatever, or ship cows down. And yeah, I think there is a bit of a battle, but it's not as big as you would think.
I think it's a little overplayed by the media, and it's a political move on all fronts. I think politicians use it as, we'll stop the wine from coming. We're going to stop the beef from coming over there. People just use it to parlay other interests. Another question here, and this is kind of a funnier question. Can you please add a dessert such as tiramisu to your homemade pasta sales? That's from Melody.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, if that's what the people want, that's what the people want. Sure.
So I'm just going to take a quick second here again, guys, to make sure you're following us on Instagram. That's at the BCRC on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. We got a whopping 34 followers on Twitter. So really trying to use that a little bit differently. So let's get it following on Twitter. That's at BC_resources. Follow us on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's actually doing quite well right now. Follow us on YouTube. You subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this, you obviously have Facebook, but make sure you like our post. I think I said I was going to give away something, didn't I, Trevor?
I think you did.
So you know what? Let's announce in our contest. I think what we're going to do here is if you share this video and if you share it on your personal page, you're going to get entered in a contest to win a BCRC hat. And we just came out with some new hats from the U store. I should have brought mine in here with me. They're fantastic. They're really, really cool. So make sure you visit the BCRC shop and buy yourself a hat. And again, if you watch this video and you share this video afterwards, it can be the YouTube video that we come out with. It can be this one. You're going to get entered in to win a hat. Maybe tag some friends in there too. Let's really try to grow the BCRC page. I'll be honest, we've been a little stagnant here lately. We haven't gained as many followers as I'm hoping. So I really want to get and push it to that next level, guys, because if you want BC resources to make BC jobs, you have to be louder. You have to share our content. You have to help us gain the attention of politicians. So I think that's important to share all our content. If we got to give away a free hat every now and then, I'm sure El Presidente will be just fine with that. Melody's really been blowing you up here. So I think this is probably going to be the last question from the comments. Would you consider doing social distancing catering dinners in Edmonton or in BC?
Yeah, most definitely. I'm actually creating a second part of my business right now that's going to be launched very soon. Unfortunately, I'm going on vacation here pretty quick, but when I get back, I'm definitely launching a sort of long table outdoor or indoors, if you can accommodate the space, social distance dinner where I come in and privately cook for people for a fairly reasonable rate for an excellent dinner and just a fun evening where, if you're going to host a dinner party, you actually get to hang out with your guests and not be cooking in the kitchen all night and cleaning. I bring a team.
Oh, you're gonna clean up too?
Oh man.
Oh, yeah, sign me up for that. I'm gonna get El Presidente to help us maybe get a little dinner out of you when you come to Prince George.
I'd love it. I've been to Prince George once. I'd love to return. It's beautiful.
Oh, there you go. So you guys, I think that's gonna do it. So you got any kind of final words here, Trevor, before we log off here tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank you for having me on this. It means a lot to me. Growing up in BC, it's always going to be my home, and I'm going to return back one day. So building jobs and creating awareness, whether it's BC or Alberta, it means a lot to me. So I do appreciate you letting me come on the show.
Awesome. So you guys just remember that BC resources should make BC jobs. Remember that if you're watching this video, you are a BC resource. I am a BC resource. We are BC resources. So for Trevor, Connie, the MasterChef season 4 winner of Canada, my name is Clint Chappell, and this has been the BCRC show. Have a great night.